Hi, so today I wanted to do a video about what do you do after you win the bid. So I don't think I had another video with the actual process. I am purchasing this property in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'm about to close escrow on it. So the platform is Zoom.com, and when you win the bid, they ask you, the next step is to do a summary checkout, which you provide the entity name, the title and escrow, the lender name if you are financing. And a lot of the time, I think what people get confused is that it says cash, but I usually use hard money. So that is going to be under like specialty financing. And then you need to upload a pre-approval. And this is something you want to get prior to winning the bid, not after win the bid, because the zone will only give you probably, they'll always say 24 hours. And maybe if you email them, you can get an extension for 48 hours, but you have to have all this ready. And after you do the summary checkout, it will automatically populate a purchase contract through Zoom, and they'll send it to you to get signed. And then once you sign it, then it will go to the seller to sign. And usually the seller is Zoom. They'll act as the like the asset manager or something like that to sign on behalf of the seller. Okay. So this property, before I even won the bid, I had already gone to take a look at the property to see what it looks like. So let me share with you some photos of the property that I was able to get from, I got my contractors to go to look at the property. Uh, Even before that, I was able to pull up photos from Zillow, or usually I put the address in and then I look to see what the previous listings have um, on the property. You know, I can't find where my photos are. Hold on here. Okay, so oh, I hate when I can't find these things. All right, never mind. I'm not going to show you the photos. I'm going to show you the photos of what it looked like when I entered the property, okay? Um, it's really important that you check it out to know how much in the renovations will be needed. So the three things you need when you're buying a bank-owned property is you need to know what the reserve price is, what the renovation is, and then what the ARV is, which is stands for after repair value, okay? And I was telling you that I get those property detail reports to see the history of all the transactions and the recordings on the property. And if it was an FHA loan, um, then usually that's what the HUD insures it for, and that's the amount that the bank is willing to sell it for. Okay. So, real quick here, I'm going to go through photos so you can see. Now, don't get me wrong, REOs, there are some properties you can buy that are cosmetic repairs. This one is a true full renovations, but I would still say it's cosmetic as long as the foundation is good. I will need a new roof on this one. Um, you know what? I forgot to show you what it looked like just before So when you go on when you go on the internet to look, and if it hadn't been listed yet, you will find the last listing photos. Okay, that's kind of how it works. And the only consumer website that picks up these auction properties are on Zillow. I usually always like to look on Redfin because Redfin will post when it last sold and how much did it sell for. And then it will show you the pictures of the listing when the other seller sold it to the seller that got foreclosed on. So you can kind of see the floor plan. So that's the whole point when you search on the internet is to see what the floor plan is. Because sometimes Zome will have photos of outside because they hadn't had a chance to enter the property yet if it's still occupied. So they won't give you interior photos. So that's why you're searching online to see what it looks like. And sometimes, you find those photos and you go, oh, an investor bought and remodeled this home already for me. So, again, you don't know the current owner if they're going to do anything crazy to the house. But most of the time, I bought like cosmetic repairs, and even my cosmetic repairs still are like 25 to 35,000. This one is a big one. Uh, I think these people bought the house in 2018 for 110,000, okay? But I don't know what the heck happened inside the house. So however people live, it's kind of crazy. So my contractor thought there was 8 layers of shingles on this property, but it was just only on this side, okay, not the whole roof. I don't know how that happened, but I do need to repair the roof, but the AC unit looked decent. So this house, the bank posted notes on it, but I think had been vacant for quite some time, as you can see from how terrible it looks. Uh, why did I buy this house? I had a friend who drives a truck, and he said this area is really busy and that Meta is building a data center in Jeffersonville. And so I've been utilizing ChatGPT 5, and I asked it what infrastructure is coming in to Jeffersonville, and 7 or 9 miles away is Rivers Ridge Commerce Center, and that's where the data center is going in. So Meta is investing $800 million. And then I also found out there's a Canadian solar company putting in a manufacturing plant, and they're also investing 800 million. So my friend who's a truck driver said there's always traffic and cops directing traffic there. So that kind of shows you one of the things you look for in a city is all the construction work. So this is going to bring about 2,400 employees for both those companies. And so, companies go into small towns like this. This is actually, in fact, across the bridge from Louisville. So you may have workers coming from Louisville over here to work. But all I know is in another 5 to 10 years, home prices are going to be going up because ChatGPT also, I asked, what has the home values? How much have home values gone up in the last 5 years? And I think it's at 50%. And I even asked for how much the rent is, and it's about 2,100 or something, but it's gone up 50% to $250,000. So you know what? 250,000 is not bad. It's not crazy high, but it's still good. And I can still expect it to probably go to 400,000 in the next 5 to 10 years once all the workers come here to work and they need to buy houses and stuff like that. So that's why I went here because of the jobs. Okay. And my exit strategy for this is to hold, renovate it, and rent it use it as co-living and rent for 1,000 per room. Okay. Just want to show you really quickly photos. So my contractor and I want a contractor to come because he needs to do a scope of work. If you send another realtor just to take photos for you or somebody to take photos for you, they're not going to be able to, be as thorough because in the end, you need someone to do your renovations. I'll probably end up having another video of what it looks like after the renovations. And that's always the most exciting part of my journey is what the house looks like. And I have to say, I've not set foot in any of the houses that I have bought so far. And yeah, you gotta, go to another area that makes you money and, not say, oh, I gotta be next door because sometimes do you buy stock and be next door to that company? You don't. In real estate, you have to have a good team to work for you. So my contractors always run out, look for me. I have a property co-host that does all the rentals for me. And my job is to find a good a property at a great price. Okay. So, as you can see, this is pretty bad. I've not bought something this bad before. Okay. Next, I want to share with you um, so here's the numbers for this, okay? So I lost the bid at 80,000 the first week when I saw this and I wanted to bid on it. And I thought I was bidding against the auctioneer, but I was actually bidding with someone. And so I didn't bid because the next bid would have been $84,000 and I didn't want to pay that much. So I let it go. And then it turned out I really was bidding against someone. And so I emailed the zone person that I have. I bought so many properties that now I know who works there. So I sent them an email and I said, hey, if this falls out, I'm really interested in buying it. And so, like, over a week, it did not go back to auction. And then I guess 10 days later, the one of the auctioneer notated that I was interested. So she told me that it would become available again because that person who bought the property said they needed to inspect and go inside the property. So then that's why they backed out. Now, if you cancel and you don't buy or go through with the contract, then they may make you pay $1,000 to like I forgot what they call that. So they don't want you to be someone who just bids, wins, and then not follow through. And they'll like kind of blacklist you or make you put $1,000 deposit in order to bid. Okay. So then the next week, I bid and I almost put 80,000 as I was bidding on it. I noticed it said 78,100. So I'm like, wait a minute, that's $1,900 less. And I'm like, okay, I'm retracting. I'm not. So they had a button called Own It Now. And the Own It Now was for 78,100. So I clicked on that. And as soon as I did that, it just stopped the whole auction. Okay. Um, I should have, okay. Anyway, so my rental budget was actually a little bit higher than 75,000, but the hard money lender I'm using doesn't allow me to go over the purchase price. Okay. So my rental budget 75,000. And I'm going to go to another screen because I do have the loan terms. I finally got it today. And let me see here. So let me show you the contract for the property. No, that's not it. Sorry. I'm not that great with this, I have to tell you. It's not it either. my screen. Oh my gosh, I'm going to. Okay, sorry. Here we go. Okay. This was something that I found out, and I told you I know how to get into a property, and that's because I'm an REO listing agent. But I didn't realize this until I looked at the contract. So if you're in contract, this is the seller loan number, and the combo code is the last four digits of the loan number. And this property did have a combo lock on it, and so I was able to give this to the appraiser that went to the property to take photos. Okay, so that's how the appraiser was able to get in. Um, on this deal, the reason it was 1,900 less was because Zome contributed $1,900. They get paid on these deals, and sometimes they want to sell it. They will put in their commission or whatever you want to call it because those guys, so this deal doesn't have a buyer's premium of 5%, but they contributed $1,900. So I'm happy about that. I didn't have to pay 80,000. Okay, so and so this is the checkout summary, and they will give you the amount that you have to deposit. So you know that right away when you're bidding, okay, it'll tell you how much your deposit is. And you have the contract here. It's all the same. They all, like I said, they input the information, and you'll want to go here to take a look at the closing date. Okay, my closing date is 9/8. I gave them the title and escrow company, so it's on here as well. So it's a pretty like 56 pages. You can spend your time reading it, but it's the same on every property. The bank on this one is Freedom Mortgage. Okay, so that's pretty much the contract. Okay, now I'm gonna go to pricing. So I did this one. I didn't use a private money lender, but I've got some pretty good terms. Um, so today I asked my. This is probably like the fifth, sixth deal I've done with this lender. Okay. And I want to share something good too, because today my appraisal came back, and when I initially did this, that I used an ARV of 220,000. I'm very conservative, so it could only go higher and not lower. I did send the appraisal company a list of all the properties that I found so that they can use it. I gave them like I put a little spreadsheet together which included the address, the year it was built, how many square foot it is, does it have how many car garage it has, and what the distance is from the subject property. Okay, and then I even gave them the link to Zillow so they can pull it. You want to make it easier for the appraiser. Now, they may use it or they may not. Okay. In this case, I think they used like they had two properties that I had on here. Okay, sorry about that. So at first they were going to give me 100% of the purchase and 100% of the renovations. But he told me he got back and the underwriter wanted, I'm not, oh, and then I had to put down 5%. Now, I think the way he explained it is this is a loan for 12 months. It's a short-term rehab. Okay, I have up to 12 months to rehab it. Me, I take 3 months and I pay it back. Um, and so they have an as-is value of 80,000. My purchase price is, of course, 78,100. I told them my rehab budget was about 78. 8 and he dropped me down to 75,000. Anyway, my ARV came back at 245,000. So that comes out to oh, hold on, let me tell you. So I'm buying it for 78,100 divided by 245,000. I got this property for a little under 32 cents on the dollar. 32 cents on the dollar. Okay. And let me see here. Let's say so they're gonna give me and so the way it works is the hard money lender loans you 70 to 75% of the ARV value. They don't go all the way up to 80. Okay. So that's why they have it at my max loan amount is 150,000. Hold on. 245 times. Hmm. Although I don't know, that number it's not, it doesn't seem like it's right. But so my max loan amount is 150,000. I'm putting down on this one $3,100. Okay. So here is my loan fees. And the reason you have 150,000 is the purchase price plus the renovation plus my down payment. And this is my loan amount. They wanted me to have some skin in the game. I remember that's what he said. My interest rate is 10.49%. Um, and these loans are small, so he said he's gonna take 3,000 flat, okay? And this 995 here is the attorney fees that for drawing up the loan and stuff, loan documents, and then there's an underwriting fee. So I got to bring in, and I did a deposit of 3,000 already. Okay, and this was not the estimate of title and escrow of a 1,500. Now you also got to go and figure out what the insurance is, and I think on this one my insurance is like $995. So they want you to pay a year's in it, a year's insurance on it. And I have to have some reserves here because what's going to happen is once they give me or we close escrow, for however long it takes you to rehab, you will be making interest only payments. Okay. So I've had one loan where I was able to roll the interest in and not pay it. And then when I refinanced it, I just paid the 3 months in my payoff. Okay, so I had 3 months. They just put the interest. So when I refinanced, they just charged whatever the 3 months was. Okay, and included that. So this one, um, 75,000, I have unlimited draws, if that makes sense. So you have to, they don't give you this money and you pocket it. Okay, they hold this back after escrow. They will fund the purchase price. You're responsible for the closing costs. So you wire your closing costs and down payment into escrow, and then you close. And then when you start on your renovation, whatever it is, you work with your contractor, you put the money in, you make the repairs, and you go partially, right? And then you go, okay. And then they use an app called SiteWire, and you upload all the photos, and um, there's a price for each of the work that's done because I'm going to go next to show you the scope of work. Okay. Um, okay. Anyway, so that's what it is here. If you can see really, make the screen bigger. These are all the numbers. Okay. And I can share this, but just keep in mind, you're not going to get my pricing because I've shown them what I have been able to do. So they don't require 20% down from me. Okay, this was supposed to be 100%, but I don't know what happened there. I can still live with $3,100. Um, okay, let me show you the scope of work. So this is a spreadsheet that I got from one of these lenders, and I don't know which one it is, but we use this one now. Okay. And when I say we, that means my contractor that uses it. And so on this app, all this information of what it costs and what item is put in this app. So my contractors, now we go, I tell them, hey, finish this one here, or sometimes they give you partial. And then I'll submit, let's say they've done at least $20,000 worth of work. And this is $20,000 I have to front first or use on a credit card or whatever. Somehow you have to pay your contractor. And then they upload the photos and then they have, I don't know, someone review it. And I think, someone who's well versed in, contracting and stuff like that. And so they look at it. So let's say you submitted $20,000 worth of work. They can either give you 20,000 or they can say, no, no, you're not finished here yet. I'm going to give you 18,000. And they charge about $200 each time to review. So, and then they just wire the money into your bank account. So that's called a draw. So let's say I submitted $20,000 of completed items here, or maybe even partial, because I can't remember the last time. I did have one deal where they actually sent an inspector out to take photos. And so then you keep doing this, right? So I have $75,000 worth of rehab. I remember the first deal I did, I had a draw amount, but I didn't use it. I had my own cash because I had credit cards at 0%. So guess what? I used the credit cards instead. And but you know what I think? I think they charged me interest on the $25,000 that I didn't even take out. So that was stupid on my part. Now I realize if you get a draw, take that money and use it instead of using your own money. And so I think the hardest part would be the first draw because, then you got to get the money back out so you can pay your contractor again so they can continue the work. Okay. So this lender told me I didn't have a limit on draws. And it's all different. Every lender works differently. I think there was another lender, they gave you 4 draws or something like that. But just keep in mind, every time you do a draw, they charge you $200. So this is broken down in different areas. I'm gonna read real quick. Roof, gutters, finished carpentry, drywall, interior paint, flooring, kitchen, bathroom, plumbing work. So this was also sent to the appraiser that went out to do the property. So they got a list of the work that's done. See, so I had it here for 77,528, and the lender changed it and dropped me down to 75. All right, but this is your contractor. Um, I mean, if you know how to do this, that's fine too, because sometimes I go in here and I fix it and I have to adjust it for the lender. Okay. So let me show you my appraisal just so you can get an idea what they use for the appraisal. Let's see here. Oops. I paid $599 for this appraisal. Oh yeah, sorry guys. Um, there's different pricing too, because sometimes if you go to this, if you use the same lender to do the DSCR loan, I did that one time, and so they were able to use the same appraisal and like charge me a reinspection fee. And I think I paid like seven, because appraisal now can be 500 to $800. It's a lot. So this, I said I didn't want to pay $800, so I don't know. This appraisal is 599, and this is not an actual appraisal, an actual appraiser. This is more of like a review. I don't know how to explain it, but normal appraisals are on a different format. And when I looked at this earlier, and the first three comparables here are homes to provide the as is value. So if you see 42,000, 81,000, 80, just a little under 80,000 here. And then the other four are sold comps for the ARV. So this one here, I have a 285,000. This is one of the ones I found and I provided to them. And then there was one more. This one for is 262. I provided this. I've been doing this for 20 years and I've seen a lot of appraisals. So I was just reviewing this and I thought this was so odd. So here is a property that I had on my spreadsheet that I provided like six other sold comps, at least six. And this one, 4 bedroom, 2 bath. And then I provided the other one. And so he has it here. This one says properties considered but not selected as comparables. And then they didn't use this one because it exceeds 1 mile. Okay, this is on the same street. You use this one. And then I also used this Rudell was on my list, but he didn't use it. So he used Sloan and Perimeter. So this is not an actual appraiser. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, here's my house. Here, these are the other comps. And I think the the Meta data center, if some of you don't know, the data center is, I think, for their AI. I mean, a lot of companies it needs a lot of power and energy. Um, so that's what the data center is for. I want to be there. I want to house these construction workers who are coming out here and working. Um, you know, they need a place to stay. And I'll share something else funny because I'm buying a property in New Albany. And so if you go to a lot of new construction, new builders, what they do is they have the same floor plan, and that builder will go to multiple cities in many states, and they do the same floor plan. So some of the comps were the home floor plans as the other house I'm buying in New Albany. I'm so sorry. I don't know where to put my 4 dogs, so they're all here yapping. Okay. Um, So that's kind of what's going on. You need the appraisal. Once that comes back, then the lender can submit it for final approval. And then I'm using my title and escrow company, and they're going to schedule the closing for me hopefully next week. And I wanted to share this with you guys. This is a picture. My husband and I have both been in the lending and the real estate between both of us almost 50 years. I used to be a loan officer, and he's been doing loans for like 30 plus years. And he works with Nexa Mortgage, which is one of the largest brokers in the nation, and they have hundreds of DSCR lenders as well as hard money lenders. He is part of uh, he's a member of my LLCs that buys his property, so he can't do our own loans, okay? But if you need him to issue a pre-approval letter, um, feel free to reach out to him. He's been doing residential for, you know, really long time. So he is licensed in Nevada, California, Illinois, and Michigan. Now, when you do DSCR loans, there's like 11 states that you actually have to have a license in. California and Nevada are two of them. Let's see here. And so when you run into people who says, "Oh, I can do your loan, DSCR and stuff," because there's all the other states that don't require a license, but a lot of people just jump in. I would implore you to ask how long they've been a loan officer, because It's a lot of understanding. Obviously, DSCR does not require you to provide, your income statement and it's based on the property, but ask questions because there's some people out there who's just they're not even investors. They do loans. So many cannot do California and Nevada because you actually have to have an NMLS license to do loans out there. So if you want to, get a pre-approval for these REOs, since I'm here, I can direct and I can help you and he can help you. Reach out. Again, it's his name is Greg Silletto, Silletto at nexamortgage.com. Okay, so I hope this video helps you a little bit more, and I will go ahead and do another video about I guess when I close, and I'll have another video of what the property looks like once it's been renovated and then what's going on. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment in the chat or description.